eat everything what suits you. But of course, in today's world, when we say gluten-free, actually it's not like a fancy word. Fat burst does amazing. It kind of acts as a fire extinguisher to your whole system, especially to your gut. Since we always say that, everything is in the gut. If your gut is good, everything is good. I wouldn't want to villainize it because it's a miracle drug if used properly.
Mounjaro or Ozempic?
Mounjaro, I would say.
All right, it's a book release that has just happened last week. But because the author is from Dubai, I said when she's in town, I've got to tape it so that we play it back for you guys on a later date. It's called Nourish Without Nonsense, going back to the roots. And for those of you watching us on video, you can see the beautiful author on it. It's Saanchi Shetty. Saanchi is one of the foremost nutritionists of our generation. It's a very interesting book because it talks about gut health, circadian rhythm, real nutrition, and the way our ancestors lived. And Saanchi is of the opinion that if we just stick to the basics, things will be all right. Great to see you. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm amazing. How are you doing?
I'm well, and I hope your launch went very, very well.
Amazing. It was more than what we expected. It was a super hit. It was really nice, and the whole panel discussion also went really, really well. So authentic, and every guest, enjoyed it. It was really nice.
Nice. I'm going to start with the need for this book. What's happened with food science and nourishment and nutrition is it has been very complicated over the sands of time.
True.
You had a whole phase where people said eat small meals at very, very short intervals.
Right.
All of a sudden, people said, no, ditch that, go in for a keto diet. Then after some time, there was another fad, which actually isn't a fad, which has been around, and our grandfather's grandfather and our grandmother's grandmother has been adopting it, which is fasting.
Intermittent fasting.
That has come back.
Right.
It's a little confusing to the layperson. What am I really supposed to follow?
Right.
And one of the things that you do very well is you talk about going back to the roots. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So very well. I mean, the exact things what you asked and you said about the whole fad and confusion and all that. I have a whole chapter in this book on page 165 called Diet Dilemmas. So all the dilemmas what we have and all the fads which come and go, and it also includes intermittent fasting. It has keto, paleo, vegan, and so many actually. All of them I have mentioned. So that chapter is amazing to understand this. But at the end of it, what are you supposed to do? Following something which is sustainable and something what does well with you, because not one diet suits all, right? So you have to really understand, and that is where I've also got, when I say back to the roots, ancestral way is basically following the circadian rhythm also, the way our ancestors followed. So to make it simplified, the circadian rhythm is basically starting your day and eating at the sunrise and being done eating at sunset. That's what it is, because our body's clock is aligned with the universe, with the outside world. So we have a clock and then there's a universal clock. We are aligned with it. So we need to just make sure that our eating, our sleeping, and all our lifestyle habits are on point. That's it. That makes it simple for everybody. And eating, just 3 meals also is fine. When I say circadian rhythm, you wake up and you do a good breakfast, exactly the way our ancestors said, eat like a king. So you eat like a king, but you start with proteins, fats, fiber, everything. So it has to be like a whole dense meal, so that because that is what sets the tone for the whole day. That is what takes care of your energy levels throughout the day, and it doesn't let you crave, and also of course your brains work fine, and overall you will feel amazing. So this is what you have to stick to. And then of course your dinners have to be really light, but depends what time you sleep. So if you're not sleeping too early, and then you do like a heavy dinner, but of course at 6:30 or 7, following the circadian rhythm. Simple things, and keeping it wholesome meals. Eat everything what suits you, but of course in today's world, when we say gluten-free, actually it's not like a fancy word as such, like that gluten-free which has come from the Western world as such, because that was not actually our staple food, Indian food. We used to have millets. Those were our actual grains, staple grains. In 1950s, when the revolution came in, that was whole political thing for the economy of the country, which changed our grain to wheat. And then the whole agriculture of wheat changed, where they genetically modified it. So that is why gluten-free. So if you stick to gluten-free, which is all the cause of inflammation in our body, because now you know importance of inflammation has been out there. So having anti-inflammatory foods, no doing gluten, sugar, because obviously the insulin resistance has to be taken care of. So that's it, just keeping it simple and sustainable. Understanding the importance of food, having that whole connection and the relationship with the food is good. Keeping it simple.
Another thing which you talk about extensively in the book is how it must come from farm and go to the table very, very quickly. Because if food is preserved or stored for a long time, there will be preservatives which are needed to keep it fresh.
True.
And that's something you don't want. And to eat very local. You don't necessarily have to have apples from Fiji and oranges from New Zealand. But it's very important to eat the food which is very close to where you live.
True. It's so I always say regional and seasonal. So stick to the seasonal foods, because that is how, again, when we talk about circadian rhythm connecting to the universe or the nature, similarly the nature has already decided that which season has which food has to be consumed by the body. That is why you see all hydrating citrus fruits have, in the summers, right? Like watermelon, oranges, all are those seasonal fruits, so that it keeps you hydrated, because of the summers you sweat a lot and you feel dehydrated. So those are there, and then you have a lot of greens and all that stuff. Again, in December's, in the winters and all that, the bajras and all are really good. It kind of takes care of the temperature control, body and outside temperature. So obviously there are regional and seasonal foods, and of course my third book will be talking a lot about the regional and seasonal foods. What are you supposed to have when, so that you be in sync with that also.
At one end, you turn around and say that dairy is something that you must banish from your diet. That is part of your philosophy of, vegan philosophy, as it were. The other end of the spectrum, you believe in the power of ghee.
Yes.
And you say that perhaps ghee, first thing in the morning on an empty stomach,
yes,
does wonders. So
that
talk about both. Talk about how it's important to avoid dairy. You
yes.
spoke about gluten already. Avoid dairy, but also the benefits of ghee.
Ghee is amazing because it is fat, and people fear fat, thinking that it's going to increase your cholesterol levels and all that, as in the bad cholesterol level. But it's absolutely a myth, like a big myth. And of course it's out in the world right now, but just for the audience to understand, fat burst does amazing. It kind of acts as a fire extinguisher to your whole system, especially to your gut. Since we always say that everything is in the gut. If your gut is good, everything is good. So all your acidity issues, bloating and constipation, all that also will be taken care of. And when I say acidic issues, it acts as a fire extinguisher when you have it first thing in the morning. Apart from that, keeping your blood sugar levels in check and sustainable, keeping it at a certain pace and not spiking it throughout the day, that also takes care of that. So basically, because you're fasted throughout, right, you sleep for around 8 to 9 hours, and then your last meal you have around 10 to 12 hours of fast. And first thing in the morning when you wake up, your system is like stable, your blood sugar levels are stable. So to maintain that stability, you have fat first, then you continue having anything else. And 70% of our hormones are made of fat, so you need that kind of fat. 80% of your brain is fat. So to have better memories, and operating well mentally is also amazing. And a lot of your happy hormones, the hormones which are involved into your mood boosting and all, again they are fat based. So fat is very, very important. So starting it first thing in the morning is just perfect. And ghee has medicinal properties to it scientifically, so it is amazing. You can also do MCT oil, which we say coconut oil and all that, but ghee is more enjoyed and relished, so we can do ghee.
Why are you averse to dairy, and why do you want to forewarn people who are reading this book about dairy?
So just to simplify it to a layman, dairy, cow milk, cow and a woman's body is same, right? We give birth to our baby, we lactate because we have a certain hormonal change in our body. Similarly, even cow, when it's pregnant and when it's when the baby is born, the calf is born, it also lactates. So the lactation is what obviously the cow starts milking, right? So that so the cow is being injected hormones to keep lactating throughout without getting pregnant. And again, because it's been lactating, the organs are kind of giving up. The body of the cow will give up because obviously it has a limit, right? So for that, they've been injected antibiotics. So imagine those hormones and that antibiotic is getting into the milk and then you are consuming it. That is why you see young generation, the girls, start having hormonal issues and PCOS as soon as they are 12, 13.
Wow. For those of you who've tuned in late or are watching or listening to us, it's a book called Nourish Without Nonsense, hashtag Going Back to the Roots by Saanchi Shetty, Saanchi Shetty. It's available on all on-ground as well as online stores. Please also go and follow Saanchi all over social media. She's very, very active. On Instagram, it's at the Saanchi Shetty, one word. Facebook and X and YouTube, it's at the Saanchi Shetty. There's also a website called thesaanchisheti.com. There's an additional Instagram handle at Saanchi Shetty 9, which is the numeral 9. You know, Novak Djokovic, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, as far as tennis is concerned, said that there was a time when he couldn't win enough matches, which is unbelievable because ultimately he went on to win more Grand Slams than Rafa Nadal as well as Roger Federer. And he said the big change happened when he gave up gluten.
Absolutely.
And he said he started feeling lighter, the sluggishness went away, and he started becoming a champion. What is it that gluten does to our body? And by gluten, I mean the wheat rotis that we have.
Yes. Wheat and any wheat product.
Yeah.
The whole wheat, the whole agriculture. One is that, of course, it's genetically
What else would there
modified.
be apart from the roti?
Anything, all your confectionery, the bakery, breads and cakes and everything
The
is made.
pastas also.
Everything, the pastas also, and then you have your suji, which we eat upma, and dalias.
So rice is okay.
Rice is absolutely okay. I feel rice is the best grain on earth.
So suji, dalia?
Suji, dalia, everything, maida, of course, all your pastries and all that which are made, and your pastas, and of course burgers, pizzas, the bases are all wheat and wheat products.
Talk to me about what gluten does to the body.
So gluten, definitely, one, it is genetically modified, the way it is changed after 1950s. Before 1950s, it was completely different. So agriculture changed overall. That is one reason. So when the agriculture changed, the whole crop, the way it was before, it's completely changed. So now the seeds, what are used for agriculture, they come from the lab. So obviously it is genetically modified. That is one thing. So genetically modified is basically like putting in some foreign body in your body, right? Foreign particle in your body. So eating plastic. So you wouldn't want to eat plastic, but that is not what, in simple words, that is not what the government or anyone who's selling it to you tells you that, okay, you're eating plastic, you know. So the GMO is one thing. Apart from that, it is actually, there is some gluten basically is not, we human gut is not able to digest or metabolize the gluten. But still in India, you know, since childhood we've been having it. That is why a system, obviously because body is a sophisticated machine, it kind of tries to manipulate and tries to adjust with whatever you're throwing at it. So the gut and your digestive system has kind of tried to digest it, but still it has a lot of side effects. So since it is called an inflammatory food, you know, it creates a lot of inflammation in the body, which creates havoc overall. You know, you have organ issues, you have inflammation around your organ, you have cardiac issues. Obviously, when I say inflammation, it also, you know, affects your mental health and everything. And especially your gut, your bloating, your constipation, and anything related to gut or digestive issues you have, it is due to gluten. So as simple as that. It is the most inflammatory food you should avoid.
To me, the most important chapter in your book is something that I'd like you to explain now. The ancient art of saying no to food. Whether it's an ancient art or a modern art, I'm hopeless at that, saying no to food. It's almost as though I don't have a switch off button. You know what I mean?
So it's one, of course, it's mental. I wouldn't want to get into that area of it. It could be it's a completely different topic as such. But if your body has deficiencies, if you have not nourished well, if your your all the nutrient needs, if they are not taken care of well, that is when you have this urge of whenever you see food, you want to eat it. Even if your body doesn't need it, you want to eat it. That urge will be taken care only when your deficiencies have been taken care. Whether it is through whole foods, of course, whole foods and having the right amount of foods and having it rightly at the right time, that is more important. Apart from that, I would like to just get in something which is supplements. Taking care of your needs through supplements also is absolutely fine. If you have any deficiencies like magnesium, selenium, zinc, iron, anything, when you do your blood test, if you see there are deficiencies, even B vitamins, also it affects your mood, it affects your metabolism. So when these also are deficient, that is when you want to reach out to food. So ancient way of saying no is that nourishing well, having enough whole foods at the right time.
And it'll automatically happen is what your feeling is.
Absolutely. And apart from that, keeping those long gaps, the ancient fasting, not just the intermittent fasting, but also doing fasting. So I always recommend my clients, and I myself, I do Ekadashi, which is the moon cycle which is followed. So there is a day in a month or sometimes 2 days, Ekadashi we call it in India. So that day your system refuses to work. If you start fasting, just fast that day or have something really light and just stick to fruits or veggies, don't do any cooked food or anything, don't have anything processed, that kind of resets your body. And then after that, you start doing the long gaps. The longer gaps, your system resets again in the day. Like you have your breakfast, give a good gap, wait for 3 to 4 hours for your food to digest, but of course have a wholesome meal. Then have your lunch, keep the lunch maybe not heavy as breakfast, but okay, you can have like a medium light meal and then have a light meal. That is how this whole, again, coming back to circadian rhythm, your body literally resets. You are more conscious, your body is more conscious, you can decide better and not fall in for cravings or urges.
The protein obsession that has taken over modern day people who embark on their fitness journey. You have gym instructors coming and giving you protein powder.
Right.
You have basically vegetarians now converting to non-vegetarianism, consuming chicken or even eggs at a starting stage because they've been told those are active protein sources. Is it right to obsess so much about protein? I buy the fact that protein takes more time to break down, so it gives you the feeling of feeling fuller.
Fuller, yes.
But does one need to obsess about it so much?
I mean, you should not obsess about anything. You don't obsess about protein, don't obsess about carbs, don't obsess about, people also villainize carbs so much. They're so obsessed, they become anti-carb people. They're like, oh, this is carbs, this is up. They start calculating calories and, calculating the macros also. Macro calculation is fine. I never get into calorie calculations because it is food, it is food. It has some energies, you don't calculate it, you eat the right foods, that's it. So you don't obsess about anything, but yes, I also, coming from a sports background and being a sports nutritionist also, I do talk about having protein, higher protein in your meals. So there's a certain calculation because we do come from the ape generation, right? We do come from the hunters group where we didn't have any agriculture, right? We did have chicken, we used to hunt and eat. So the protein, fat coming, the amino acids coming from the non-vegetarian sources is great for a human body. But again, it's completely your choice. As far as you're able to be healthy, being a vegan or having non-vegetarian, the protein calculation, again, I would say, having a combination of non-vegetarian and vegetarian proteins is very, very important. So basic also, even if you don't want to do like 1.5 into the body weight, they say, but just making sure that your meal is wholesome again, that your meal consumes enough carbs, protein and fats and savory and sweet through food through fruits or through nuts and through your dry fruits like dates and apricot and all that, or maybe a fruit as a dessert. So this whole combination of taste to your tongue and plus wholesome meal, everything is fine. You don't have to obsess about any calculation then.
I've noticed that Indians have, by and large, unless they have sporting genes in them, metabolism is largely sluggish. And how does one reform that? How does one increase one's metabolic activity, increase metabolism so that it breaks down the food actively?
One is definitely being physically active. That is one thing which will take care of your metabolism. Being sedentary, not being active enough, because this is, like I said, this is a machine. You need to keep moving it. Same as your car. If you park your car in the garage for years together or for months together, of course even that will start making that cut noise, you need that servicing and all that. So body is the same. You have that movement, you be active, that will take care of your metabolism. Having the right foods, again, since you said protein, so protein is another food which increases the metabolism. So having enough protein also throughout the day, if not, again, not obsessing or calculating it, that is one thing. And taking care of your deficiencies is also very important, which plays, like I said, B vitamins. Your B vitamins, usually you have a calculation, right? When you have a number, when you go do your blood test, it says from 200 to 900 is the range which it should be. So always try that it should be more than 500 in your reports. That is what it is. So that also takes care of it, because B6 plays a major role in metabolism. So this is how you can take care of your metabolism.
You said this is your second book and you're working on your third.
No, this is the first one and the second should be out. It's already ready. And then I'm working on the third.
So give me a sneak peek into is it a natural progression from Nourish Without Nonsense to the next stage?
It is. So basically this is more like a crash course on living a healthy lifestyle. So a person who will read this will know how to start their day and end their day. And apart from that, this also talks about the early morning meditations, the importance of breathing, the importance of being physically active and doing any form of activity, not just that, oh, you have to go to the gym and you have to do certain exercises. So this is like a crash course. Now I'm getting a little more deeper into the second book, because today's world, insulin resistance, the blood sugar levels going haywire, because we have, I think, ranked number 1 now in India for diabetes. So how diabetes happens, what is insulin resistance, what is inflammation. So in that we have spoken about everything, whether it is PCOS for the woman, hormone health, mental health, your liver, your kidney. So that has everything in detail, but in a very simple layman language, talking about what is inflammation, why does it happen, what type of things are there, how do you get a check of it, and then the solution for it, to reverse it or maintain it, or the book is about that then. That is more deeper, it has more scientific things to it, but again simplifying it to the audience, simplifying it to the readers, that if they read it, they know it. Because today, they say Instagram Reels, they Google what is inflammation, there's so much information, but understanding it in a layman language, having solutions for it, the right solutions for it, the simple ones, the sustainable ones, the lifestyle changing ones, that is what the second book is.
Early on in this particular book, for those of you who have tuned in late, just once again, on video I'm showing you the cover. Nourish Without Nonsense, #Going Back to the Roots by Saanchi Shetty is out on all on-ground as well as online stores. Please go get it. It's a life-altering, life-changing book. Early in the book, you talk about how you got into nutrition because of your own experiences. You were very active on the sporting field. You were playing basketball, running, and all of a sudden you realized you had to do something about your sluggish physiology.
Yes.
And that's when you started researching, trying to help yourself.
Right.
And then eventually now you're helping everybody.
Yes.
So would you say that if it works on you, it works on most people? Yeah.
Yeah, because these are simple things, because again, the favorite topic in this book is gut for me, because everything resides in the gut. And I realized it that I was gluten sensitive, I was dairy sensitive. Dairy doesn't suit me at all, which I didn't know. Coming from a vegetarian family, because I come from a Jain family, and being an athlete and coming from an athletic family, and I've been 2 times national player for basketball also.
Oh, wow.
So I started very young with sports because it was very important in my family. But being a vegetarian, every day morning I was given one roll of ghee chapati with sugar in it and a big glass of milk, protein ke naam pe. And I didn't know that these things don't suit me. And I am on the ground trying my best. It is like swimming against the waves. I'm trying to do my best, but something was not enough. That is how I started. But I used to go to multiple doctors. My grandmother was the one who I grew up with because my mom was socially quite busy. She used to take me to multiple doctors. Because I had so much heartburn at the age of 9, 10, 11, she took me to a heart doctor. The heart doctor was so amazing. He said, this child has a crack in her heart. This was the story, and then my whole family mourned for 6 months, saying that she has a she has a crack in her heart. She has a crack in her heart, and it was an acidic issue. I had acidity, So the gastric doctor couldn't really figure it out. So this all went on and on and on, and I always thought that I ate chapati, I had glass of milk, and I ate ghar ka khana. I didn't eat a burger or a pizza or chips or anything. Being an athlete, I'm being so healthy, but it was gut. And then later, after I had my daughter, my first child, I put on weight. That is the time I struggled with constipation, with bloating, and to lose weight also. I couldn't, because now I have already put on weight. My metabolism is gone for the toss. I had to reset my body. That is when I was like, okay, I have to take care of my bloating and all that. So somewhere I started reading about it, that for you need to take care of your gut, even to lose weight, even to not feel this energy, sluggish energy and all. And in India then, and till now, there is, in the syllabus, we don't study about gut. Even if you do masters into nutrition, we don't really study about gut. It's very, very typical syllabus is what we study about, just carbs and protein, and that too in not something like a layman would understand the importance of carbs, proteins, and how to set it and how to make a meal. They don't understand it. Then I started looking for scientific books, started reading it. And then I was like, the first thing in that was, in the first chapter was written that get rid of inflammatory foods, which is gluten, dairy and sugar. And I did that, my life changed. It's basically like, you were wearing, specs which was so dirty, and I just cleansed it and I wore it. I'm like, oh, I can see the world better. There's more clarity. That is what it happened. And that is when I started studying nutrition, and then I got onto it so much, and then I did my BSc, Masters, and now of course I'm doing my PhD into gut health. I also studied, I'm also a diabetic educator, and then I went on doing clinical nutrition, doing specialization into cancer diets, of course inflammation, cardiac health, PCOS, everything. So since 15 years I'm just studying.
My last section is about New Age medicine. Celebrities around the world are using and abusing Ozempic. Celebrities around the world are using and abusing, what's the other one? Which is
Mounjaro.
Yes. And now it's available in India.
Absolutely.
Very easily.
On the counter.
Over the counter.
Yes.
You can go to websites. Of course, you need a prescription.
Yes.
Mounjaro. And also, back in the day, they would just give you a PPI, a proton pump inhibitor, as an antacid.
Right.
But now there are new form of drugs called PCABs.
Right.
What do you feel about all of this?
I wouldn't want to villainize it because it's a miracle drug if used properly.
Mounjaro or Ozempic?
Mounjaro, I would say. Ozempic lacks some thing in it. Mounjaro is a better choice. But again, I am not in for it because, getting it over the counter and getting it prescribed by a general physician, because in India that has happened. That
also, you have to inject it, isn't it?
You have to inject, like an insulin, shots what anyone takes who is, diabetic. It's similar to that. It's just a shot, and it's really easy. Even a child can do to them. It's like that. So Mounjaro, of course, it's a miracle drug, but again, it is. You have to be in the criteria of it. Obesity, that is one criteria. If you're obese and you're not able to lose weight and you have tried everything else like diet, following a healthy lifestyle or exercising, then because you've given up on that, then you do Mounjaro? Yes. But again, even when you're taking Mounjaro, there are certain rules or certain things you need to follow. One is that Mounjaro doesn't really identify the fat. You lose weight overall, so you lose muscle. And losing muscle is a big threat to your body. So you cannot lose muscles. So obviously to maintain that muscle, you need to have high protein diet, and also you need to exercise. You need to definitely do strength training to maintain your muscle mass. Second thing, because it delays the gastric emptying, it holds on to the food in your big intestine. It doesn't let it pass on to the small intestine. That is when you don't get hungry. So it is basically your hunger is not there, so you don't eat.
Suppresses it.
It suppresses your hunger. So when it suppresses your hunger, this is what it actually does. It holds on to your food, and because it holds on to your food, you might have gut issues or digestive issues because your system is not working the way it is supposed to be working. That is why having wholesome foods like fiber, vegetables, and also taking care of your gut through prebiotics and probiotics through food or through supplements, that is also very, very important, because you could develop gut issues. You could develop IBS and all that. So that is another threat. And last one, I would say there are many reasons and many things what you can do, but the last one I would say is that it is not meant for people who have thyroid issues at all, because it can get worse. You could also develop thyroid cancer. So this is a very important point. People who have thyroid or people who are wanting to do this due to obesity or due to having high blood sugar levels, people who are diabetic, who fit into the criteria of Mounjaro, they should first check their thyroid levels, your T3, TSH and T4, consult a proper doctor and then take it.
There you have it. Nourish Without Nonsense, Going Back to the Roots by Saanchi Shetty. She promises 2 more books in this series, and we'll be glad to have her back. So you split your time between Mumbai and Dubai.
Yes.
And Dubai is an exciting city. There's always so much happening.
Absolutely.
But your heart must still be in Mumbai.
Yes, because it's been my journey. I've started here. I've been part of a lot of celebs, journey, which has been overwhelming, and I have kind of built that relationship with them. They are all my family now. So of course Mumbai will still be my second home, or first home you call it, and Dubai is second home. So it's like that. Lovely.
Guys, please go follow her on Instagram and go check out her YouTube channel, and please comment. It's at the Saanchi Shetty Instagram, at the Saanchi Shetty on Facebook, and likewise on YouTube. And the website is thesaanchishetty.com. Thanks for rolling by.
Thank you so
Cheers.
much.
Take care.
I was so glad. Thank you.
94.3 Radio 1.